Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. As if things haven't been weird enough. It's like they just got to get weirder. And today it seems like with something that isn't like, I don't think front page news, but it's out there and it's weird. At least I think it is, but I think it's more than just weird, and I don't think it's trolling. I know that's always the excuse with people. Oh, the president's just trolling people. And then usually it's not. And I don't think that's what this is. I think there's something to it. So before I get into that, I want to kind of get a little backstory. So this should not be surprising to any of you that's been awake for a little while, not been sleeping at the wheel. It's kind of well known that the president likes to refer to himself as a king. There's been plenty of memes and references by MAGA crowd over the last few years, and especially leading up to the last few months, referencing Donald Trump as the king. In fact, he's been on the cover of two-time magazines covers referring to him as the king. There's been news articles talking about it and concerned with it, and even he himself on his social media account has said, "Long live the king, Donald J. Trump." And so that's been going around. He's made little, sometimes overt, sometimes subliminal messages, or just little innuendos that it would be great to be the king, or that he could do it, or royalty, or something. And this goes way back further than long before Donald Trump was ever into politics. For those of you old enough to remember, he's always been known as kind of acting like a king, and his children, his sons were referred to as princes, or the princes in America, because of their lavish lifestyle and the decor in their home and all of this. There's always been that kind of little reference in the background, right? So anyways, take that and set it over here for just a second. Since the president has been the president this time around, one of the first things that he said that kind of threw everyone through a loop, like it's thrown everyone off, and he talks about it off and on like it's an ongoing thing, and some people like it, some people don't, some people are just really confused, and that is making Canada the 51st state. Okay. Even a lot of his supporters say, we don't want Canada as the 51st state. I mean, there's a lot of liberals there. Why would we want that? And again, this is one of those things that people keep saying, well, he's just trolling people. He's just trolling people. But I don't think that it is. I think that there is a goal and a purpose. And maybe today we might have a glimpse into what that goal is. So a couple of weeks ago, when he was kind of really hitting it hard on the 51st state thing, if you remember, and I reported on this, Justin Trudeau, who was the then prime minister, now he's not, actually went and had a meeting with King Charles. Called him up and had a meeting with the King of England. Talked to him, didn't really say in the news about what that conversation was about, but then shortly thereafter, King Charles appeared in some pictures inspecting some naval ships, and he was wearing a Canadian officer's uniform. And I reported on this. And a lot of people don't know this, but Canada is part of the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth is pretty much most or all of countries that were once part of the British Empire, the British realm. And even though many of them are technically considered independent states now, some of them or republics, they are still part of the Commonwealth. And most of them have a honorary, at very least, title, the king of that country. And King Charles now, and before it was Queen Elizabeth, presides as the monarch. And so in Canada, it's the same way. Canada has a title called the King of Canada. And they say that it has no authority whatsoever. It's just an honorary type of thing. It's a technical kind of, thing, but it's not really, it's not a political position at all. King Charles is also, his title is King of Canada. And so he presented himself to the public in a rare form of wearing the King of Canada uniform, which is a military uniform. And I said then, something's up. He's sending a message, things are up. Well, now fast forward to today. The news is reporting that King of England, King Charles, has welcomed and offered the United States to become part of the Commonwealth. Technically, we qualify for that because we were once under the British Empire, right? It will be called an associate membership. I don't quite understand yet exactly what that all means, but we would nevertheless still be part of the Commonwealth, and the president today has indicated that he's all for that and welcomes that, and they're going to make a deal that the United States will be part of the British Commonwealth. I seem to remember us fighting a pretty bloody battle at one point in our history so that we weren't part of the Commonwealth. So I'm not quite understanding why he would think that anyone would want it, but I guarantee you this: there will be a lot of Republican, conservative, MAGA supporters getting behind this and talking about how it's a great thing that we will be part of the Commonwealth. Now, remember when I told you to put that over here? Tuck it away. Well, now it's time to pull it off the shelf. Now we're going to get into Travis's theory. I don't really have a whole lot to back it up. It's just gut feelings and stuff like that. Most Commonwealths, not all, but most members of the Commonwealth have a title. Remember I said the king of that country. Many of them are republics, like Canada. And they, the Democratic Republic, they elect their officials, but they have a title of the King of Canada, who has no authority, at least that's what they say on paper, has no authority over the Canadian government or the Canada, as it's just a title. What do you want to bet that when we become the official Commonwealth under the crown, that there'll be a title, the King of America? I wonder if Trump will take that title or be given that title by King Charles. If that happens, number one, does that mean that all this talk of kind of pushing buttons with making Canada the 51st state, maybe that was all the point, so that he could proclaim this title as king? Does it mean anything? Is it going to happen and then somehow twist it and turn it to make it where he's just a king and now we have a king? He has been talking about, he hasn't, but his supporters and other people have been saying that there's conversation within the Trump camp and the White House that he's preparing already for a third term, which according to our laws right now is illegal. So things would have to change for him to take a third term as president. Doesn't mean that it would stop him. Is that what we're seeing with pushing all of this, the judiciary to be turning down and overturning all of his rulings and his executive orders? And even though some of them, I think that the judiciary is in the wrong, somehow get to the point that their authority is nullified. He could I don't know. We're getting into really weird, uncharted territory here, folks. And I understand some of you still really, really like Donald Trump. I don't hate him. I have people all the time. You just hate the man. Do you think that? I don't hate him. I pray for him often. And I do believe that he's in the position he's in because that's what God wanted. It was God's will. Doesn't mean that he's in that position for good things. It just means that God willed it, and that's what he's there for. But I'm also very well aware that things aren't perfect like a lot of people want you to believe. And there are some really shady things and charades going on, and we have to see right through that. And this thing of becoming the Commonwealth, I know it could just be a thing because it's just a title, it's just a term, a phrase. It doesn't technically mean anything. They have a big Commonwealth Games, kind of like the Olympics, and they're all very demonic. If you've ever watched one, just go back and look, do some Googling on the Commonwealth Games. And this last one, it was, if I remember, I watched the introduction of the opening ceremony. That was the right word. and it was a very demonic big bull, and they were worshiping it. And yeah, just look up the Commonwealth Games. Anyways, so we're going to be part of the Commonwealth apparently. And like I said, makes you wonder, is there going to all of a sudden be some royal title of the King of the Commonwealth? And would Donald Trump receive that title? And would it actually make him at some point twist and turn to make him a king, or at least a permanent president? He did say if you voted for him, it would be the last time you have to vote. I don't know, folks. It may mean nothing. All of this may mean nothing, but there are some really weird things going on. There's a lot of good things going on, but I think a lot of the good things that are going on, it's to distract you from the other stuff. It's to distract the media, distract the judges, to get them just where there's just tied up because all the DEI stuff got canceled, and they're cutting huge swaths of the Social Security and the Department of Education and USAID and the Pentagon and all this stuff, which it needs to be done. But I think the way it's being done and the intense force and speed that it's being done is to distract you. It's to distract you from other things. And I don't know if this is one of them, but I will say that it's weird, and there's some dots that are starting to be connected. And as I've said before, I don't believe in coincidences, and I don't think it's coincidental that Donald Trump has referred to himself as king. His supporters have referred to himself as king. He's always thought of himself as like a king and lives like a king. And the newspapers and the tabloids and the news media refer to him as a king. And all this stuff with the 51st state. And now King Charles is offering us to be part of the Commonwealth. And typically there is a title of the king of whatever that Commonwealth is. And it's a little much. I don't know where it'll all end up. But if it happens, at least somewhat, like I'm saying, I don't think it's going to end up good. There's a reason why we don't have a king. There's a reason why most Americans don't want it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people now that listen to the rhetoric and they get all hyped up and they have fallen in love because they're going to be saved by this man. And they'll be for it. You watch and see. It's just something to think about. It's really weird. A lot of things are weird, and it seems to just be getting weirder. And if nothing else, for that very reason, you should continue to be prepared. And push yourself to become more and more prepared. Because just the weirdness alone is a reason to. Get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.